Good to go, Ian. It's good to talk to you. It's good to have your conversation. How are you, my friend?
Yeah, all good. Thanks, Chad. We're doing okay, thank you. Busy? We're
Yeah,
good. Yeah.
yeah, that's good to hear. I've been anxious to talk to you a lot about what you got going on now. Of course, you are the guitarist in the band Gone Savage, which is a new band for you, a new project, which has been on the go for a few years
Quite a
now, I
while.
think, right?
Yeah, quite a while, Chad. So Gone Savage was formed way back in '91, and
Oh
that
wow,
came.
longer than I thought. I thought it was
Yeah,
I thought it was in the
yeah.
last couple of years. Well, I got a lot to learn.
It's quite a few years. So
Jeez.
that came out of the band, which you're familiar with, Sweet Sin.
Yeah.
A couple of other bands around the Manchester scene in the UK, and so we kind of got back together in 2010 as Gone Savage. And we've been writing quite a bit since 2016. We released an EP in 2020. We dropped 22, so we dropped the latest album. So we're looking to do some more work, but yeah, it's busy time with Gone Savage. It's good fun, but it's been around for a long time.
Yeah, well, I'm surprised to hear about that. I thought that was brand new, but that's been around. That's been around for a while. So Will is the singer in the band. Who else
Yeah.
is in the band? Then is Will
Okay.
from the start?
Yeah. So the original band was myself, Will Glover, Andy Halliwell. He was in Sweet Sin,
Right.
and James Ross, who was in a band called Dare. That's the band that Darren Wharton fronts, the guy who used to be keyboard player with Thin Lizzy.
Yes.
And so he'd done some work with him over in America. Things didn't work out. We caught up, and so the original band was myself, Will, Jim, and Andy. Um, and basically that went through for about 2 years, maybe, and then we replaced the guitar player with a guy called Grant Mallison. Um, um, Basically, Andy Halliwell, he went off and did other things, and we carried on with Grant. And then the band, it more or less finished around about '95. And then nowadays, I I play bass. That's my predominant instrument. But he also writes, so I write all the music. I do all the things that we do to arrange it, and then Will does all the lyrics and the melodies and whatnot.
Hmm.
So it's just basically me and Will at the moment. And so on this latest album, Past Life, we brought in a couple of guys, session musicians. I did a bit of work as well, so I put the foundations down for the guitars and such. And then we brought a guy in called Sam Miller, and he played a lot of the sessions on Past Life, as well as Grant Mallison. So Grant had gone in '95, but he came back and did some work with us in 2020, 21. And so we do all the work. So we're a band that's myself and Will, but we bring people in to do the work that we need to do. Like that could be gigs, live work, studio work,
Hmm.
but not the writing. The writing process has always gone savage. That's myself and Will.
Was there a record released back in '91 or in those years, '91 to '95, or is this
We
new stuff the latest stuff that's been out as far
No,
as
no.
released?
So '91 we did the first couple of tracks we did was a track called Love Caught Me Out, and we also did a track called
Love that song.
Nightmare. Yeah, it's a
Yeah, yeah,
cracking
yeah.
little pop rock song.
Yeah, I love it. That's might have
Um,
been the first one I've heard of your guy. I've gone savage.
yeah,
Yeah, love
but
caught me out. Yeah,
we also did tracks you're probably not familiar with, but you can get these on the internet. Shameless was another one. So a lot of the songs that back in the day were quite short and very, hook lines and such. They were released on demos. They went out to radio stations in the UK, but it wasn't like it was today. There was no streaming. There was no. We couldn't
right.
afford to do the vinyls on that. So, but we did do cassettes. Cassettes are
Nice. Yeah, that's my
yeah, and
era. That's my era. Growing up on
yeah,
cassettes. Yeah, cassette singles and stuff. Yeah, which are making a bit of a comeback too. I don't know
oh,
about
that's
over
right.
there,
I
but
was
here they
looking
are.
and
Yeah,
I was looking in holes and stuff, thinking I must have some cassettes.
yeah.
I've, believe it or not, I've got Sweet Sin cassettes,
Oh,
which must
nice.
be an absolute treasure to somebody. But Gone Savage, no, I can't find them. So they were the releases we did. We did a 4-track EP. I'm trying to think what tracks were on that. It was definitely Love Caught Me Out. It was Shameless Girl was the full title. World Gone Crazy, another one. And we did another track. It escapes me, Ran Me Down. So we had 4 tracks released then.
Mhm.
Then we did some more writing with, so Andy left, Grant came in. And then we did another session. And we did a couple of tracks, again, demos, these are cassettes. Um, Money, Power, Love into you. And you can get these on the YouTube channel that I've got. You can see these tracks. So what I've done recently, I've put these tracks to a video image.
Is that under
And
your name, or is it under the Gone Savage
yeah,
banner
yeah,
on
yeah. So
YouTube?
it's on the Gun Savage.
On the
So if you
YouTube
look on the
channel
Gun
there?
Savage
Okay.
on the YouTube channel, you'll find these.
I'll put a link for that
Uh,
on here too, so people can check that
yeah,
out. Yeah.
yeah, that'd be great. That. And so we did a lot of those, and that then came to a bit of a natural end. So since those tracks, so about 8 or 9 tracks released on cassette, we then move on a good 20 years and we do a CD album, which is PastLIFE. In between, we did Resurrection, which was some tracks that we did with the guitarist out of Dare was it is a chap called Vinnie Burns, and Vinnie played some of the stuff on there with us with James Ross. And these were tracks. These were tracks called "If It Feels Good, Do It," "Soul Sister," "When a Circus Comes to Town,"
Hmm.
and that was released as an EP in 2016. But those original demos were redone with a guy called James Marsh. If you keep it, if you keep it in.
Keeping score at
So
home. Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
so there's
Yeah.
been lots of people around Gone Savage, but originally there was only 4, and then there was a change of guitar player, and then in the new age, it's like just loads of people getting involved. So
But it's
you know,
basically it's mainly based around
but
you and Will at this point,
yeah,
for the
oh,
most part, as
100%.
far as the name and who's writing and who's working on the records, the albums, the songs.
Exactly,
Yeah, yeah.
exactly, 100%.
Did you get signed to a major label in the UK during that time in the first run? Did you have a like an actual record out, or just played shows? How far did it go back then in the 4 years?
Well, we didn't, if I'm honest, Chad, but we were very, very close, and that's one of the old adages that people say. But we was scouted by there's a your guys might be familiar with the concept. It's called Warhammer. Warhammer is like figurines and medieval
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
role play, and
They had books
so
too. Yeah,
yeah. So
yeah,
back in the day,
yeah.
they did just that, and they were based in Nottingham in the UK,
Hmm.
and they signed a band, and it kind of escapes me. I'm sure the band was called Rothschild or something similar, and they wanted another band, so they were expanding outside of this gaming to harness like music of the day, which would have been like like metal bands or prog bands or bands like Magnum, and all had that kind of image. And so they wanted to sign us, and it was really really going to be really good because it was going to be part of their new investment. And cut long story short, we had an old manager who managed us,
Hmm.
and he came back to haunt us, and we'd got all the connections for this Warhammer, and he was so adamant that he'd got all the connections, and he was ringing them up and going, oh. And so this company, because it was a brand new model, they went, oh, and they bailed out.
Uh,
And really, they should have grasped that kind of angst with rock scene and metal and that kind of thing.
yeah,
They
yeah.
didn't. So unfortunately, they walked away, and we kind of like not long after that, we all kind of went back. We'll call it a day, we'll move on. So that's as
Oh,
close as we came, and it was a shame because like big stations in the UK were playing the music, and when we played, like it was really well received. So everything
yeah.
was there, everything there. But it's one of those things, Chad. You move on.
Yeah, yeah, for sure. Well, let me ask you this. I know over here in North America, throughout America and Canada, there was this band, there was a change in scene, right, as far as sound wise, from that kind of 80s, late 80s hard rock sound into like a newer alternative vibe. But we know that's like Nirvana and bands like that. But over there, did you have that kind of change of musical scene that kind of forced your bands off the radio? Did something like that happen over there?
Yeah, yeah. Well, they always
Similarly?
say the UK will will blame it on the grunge. So
Yeah.
from about 93 to crikey, well into the 20s,
Mm.
the rock scene kind of went off, and you got this. The grunge scene was there, but it wasn't like I mean, I don't mind it. I like it. So Nirvana didn't take over the world in the UK, and neither did people like Alice in Chains. Kind of hybrid kind of music. And so it didn't do that. But what happened was the people in the UK picked up a more indie music, not independent. They like indie, we call it, and
Yeah.
like people like Oasis,
Yes.
people like excuse me, people like Blur.
That
Uh,
sound, that kind of
that
style, that
sound.
guitar, singer-songwriter
That's
type
right.
of thing.
That's
Yeah,
right.
yeah. Very different
And,
style.
Yeah, and I'm going to
Yeah.
say anybody can do it.
Yeah.
No, I shouldn't say that, but
Yeah.
anybody could do it.
Yeah.
Uh,
I could
I
do
think,
it.
yeah, it's not unfair,
Yeah.
but
Yeah.
that's where people went. So people
Yeah.
kind of moved towards that dynamic, and things that we were doing were really lost. It was one of those things. I don't think it's ever really fully recovered. But that scene that knocked it out, that's not really there now. You get a
Mhm.
bit of it, but you don't get as much as you used to. So
Right. Yeah. Makes
yeah.
sense. You said in 2010 is when you restarted Gone Savage again. What was the, I guess, the mode behind that? What made you guys, you and Will, and get the guys back together, kind of start again in 2010?
Well, I'd done the normal things. I had kids and stuff.
Yeah.
And they were getting to an age you could just kind of put them in the like
The
put
crib
them
and the bassinet and go
yeah, or,
and go off and do a
or
show.
lock the door or
Yeah.
whatever,
Yeah.
I
I'll
don't
be
know.
over here
Yeah, I'll
recording,
be over there.
playing, keep the
And then
noise down.
you find your creativity. But so my first port of call was with Will actually because I went to see him. He was living on down the south of the UK on the Isle of Wight, and I picked up the phone and said, "I'll come down and see you." So I took my guitar down, and we started doing little snippets of things, not Gone Savage, and we have a band that we do a bit more different kind of music. Not different. It can be anything from folk rock to acoustic, and that's Revolution at the Zephyr. So me and Will
Yes. Yeah.
was doing that, and we
Yeah.
still do bits like that. And then about a year later, James Ross, he was in contact with him. I hadn't spoken to him for years, and he fancied doing something as well. So we got together, got Grant on the phone. So we got two guitarists from the original, which was Andy Halliwell and Grant. And Grant didn't want to do it, so we got in touch with Andy, and he wanted to do it. So we were like, "Hey!" Went up to the rehearsal studios, started doing some stuff, and then Andy said, "I don't want to do this." So things just have been since then. I think people change, when you get to a certain age or when you've
Mm,
got certain commitments.
yeah.
And the thing is, you might want to do it, but I'm quite everything I kind of do. I want to do it as best I can. So it's not a case of I want to just blag it or try my luck. And I think some people at that age thought, well, I can't really do this, which is a shame because they could. It just means getting back into that mindset.
Yeah.
And so,
Exactly. Yeah.
and
Yeah.
so from that moment on, me and Will carried on with the Revolution of the Zephyr. 5 years later, we kind of pick up with James and we do this Resurrection EP, but Will's not involved in that. So Will didn't do any of that. It was a guy called James Marsh who played the guitar and sang on the Resurrection EP. So, and then Will came back again after about 2018.
Yeah, I
And
think
then
that's when I
yeah,
connected with you because I don't think
yeah.
I've seen it on your website, gonesavageband.com. You can check out some clips of the Resurrection EP songs, but I haven't heard them, so I can't really say. But I know I think I jumped in on your band on Gone Savage when Will was
You
back
did,
singing, I think.
you did. And it
Yeah.
would have been probably Bulletproof. So
Yes.
the first one we did was Bulletproof,
Yeah.
and then we did Louder Than the Sun.
Yeah,
So
Louder in the Sun. There was Irresistible on the new one as well too, which we've
that's
all
right.
played on Paradise City. Some great ones. Some more to come for sure. But we've really been hitting that album pretty hard. The new one, Past Life too. So
Well,
with
thank you
some
for that,
music, yeah,
chap. It
yeah.
really does. It really does. We really appreciate what you do for us. We're
Well, I appreciate you too with sharing stuff out.
yeah,
It's a
we're
share and share
grateful.
alike, right? It always helps. Yeah,
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 yeah. Right on music. Actually, it's a two-way street.
yeah,
Because
exactly.
we'll create the music, but you guys have got to add music. So it's a two-way
Hmm.
street.
And get people to hear it, yeah, for sure. Especially on this side of the pond as well too, who
Yeah,
probably, if we're honest,
yeah,
don't know that band name. So yeah, it's good to get that music out to them. It's a new band, and to me, it was too. But I didn't know it had such a long history. But that's why we're doing this conversation.
yeah. Exactly.
Talk to me
So
about a past life then. So this one seems like it's back. I know you released the last one, the Resurrection EP, but this one seems like it's from what you were telling me. This sounds like a real Gone Savage record. Like this seems like it's
yeah,
real.
it
It's
is.
more in line with Gone Savage.
It is.
Yeah,
Yeah, I totally agree with that, Chad. Because, like I say, back in the day when we was writing 1991, and there was a certain formula. So basically, we wrote with our influences back then with people like Dokken,
yeah,
Rat,
yeah.
Warren, all the good
The
bands.
classic LA bands. Yeah,
And we really like that. So we wrote around that, and then moving forward. we've gone back to what we do, and I write all the songs. So I don't pull on it. I don't put things on and go, oh, okay, I like that. I just play my guitar and then I arrange it as I would like to hear it myself. So
Right.
as a punter, as a listener,
Mhm.
and that's what we do. So yeah, this Gone Savage album, I wrote. I think we put about 15 tracks in, and I took 11 off, and we also included an intro. It's called Regression, and yeah, I like it. It's everything that I wanted it to be. So there's light and shade. There's quite hard stuff. There's short songs and long songs, and
Mhm.
that's what I wanted. Now Will has done his lyrics and his whole approach to the song titles as a concept, and I was trying to find. I'll be honest with you, it's like I can play guitar and I can write and I can produce, but some of the lyric stuff it just goes over my head. So I
Well, he's
said
the
to
one singing, right? So he's got to be the one to get behind the
exactly,
lyrics, right? If he
exactly.
doesn't believe in them, if he can't get behind them or understand them, he's not going to be much of a he's
No,
not going to put them across very well. I've
it,
heard people, you can tell when bands or when artists are doing that versus when they're the ones writing the lyrics for sure.
well, as a kid, I wrote lyrics for a band that I was in when I was about 15, 16. And I was listening to something the other day, and I was listening to one of those tracks, and I was thinking, really?
You go back, what was I thinking?
Really?
Wow, so long
So,
ago. It was a past life.
yeah, so I found Will's concept is basically it's his own personal journey. I'm reading this from the text.
Okay.
From a
Yeah.
very dark place in life for an exit to the redemption received. So he's gone through, he has actually, in real life, he's gone through a really hard time. He's
That's
come
on your
out,
website too, I believe, on Gone
it
Savage Band.
is,
Yeah. His
yeah, and he's
Will's
come out
story,
of it.
right? Will's blog, I think it's
Yeah,
called. Yeah.
exactly.
Yeah.
So Will's wrote a book
People
as
can
well
check that
about
out. Yeah.
the whole how I nearly became a rock star. Nearly.
Yeah.
Not finished yet,
Almost. Yeah.
but almost.
Getting there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's the whole album's from his point of view. It's got a tie and a concept. So we're looking to hopefully get this out on CD. I mean, that's the plan.
That's what I was going to ask you next. Is there physical
Yeah,
copies? I
yeah,
think I know we talked offline about that, but you're working on getting actual physical
we are.
copies, right? On
Yeah, we
CD,
are.
on
We
vinyl as well. I know it's expensive to make, but I always
are.
ask.
I suppose it depends how well the CD does.
Yeah.
So you can afford to do the vinyl.
I'll take a few of
But
those. We'll start there.
I, I would so like a vinyl. But
Yeah, me too. It's expensive to make though, and if we're being
yeah,
honest, it's hard. You have to make a certain amount of copies to make it worth your time, and there's a huge backup on them as far as processing plants. I don't know what it's like over there, but there's a huge, huge delay in processing them right now. That's coming out of COVID.
yeah.
A lot of bands are trying to get them out on vinyl. Everyone's trying to do a vinyl at this point too, so it really backs things up. Bands of all sizes and levels.
There's a lot of bands doing vinyl in the UK. I'm not quite sure how they're breaking even, but
Yeah,
there's a lot. There's a lot of it. Um, I personally would like to, but I don't think the like demographic or the fan base would be able to support that or support me investing in it. So
right.
we'll just go down the CD route first because we haven't done that yet. That'll be PastLIFE, obviously,
Mm.
and then I'm looking to start writing again. So hopefully we'll have another release next year. But we don't tend to. I've never wanted to sort of commit to a time agenda and say, well, I will have this by that time. It
Right.
doesn't really
You're
kind of
not
work like
beholden to a
that.
record label anymore that says you need this out
No,
by a certain
no,
time,
no,
tour album.
no,
You can do
no.
it at your leisure, which is one of the good things about the new structure in place as far as
Yeah,
making music.
absolutely. I
Yeah.
mean, we've had a couple of options to go with labels, but the commitment was it wasn't unreasonable, but it was something I weren't going to commit to. I mean, I'm in life, I've got things I'm going on, and
Right.
then it's like, and it's not a case of you switch on and you write music. You can certainly have ideas, but you can't. I can't tell you tomorrow I'm going to go and write an album. It doesn't work like that. It
Yeah,
doesn't.
exactly.
So I can recall 2019. Yeah, we're in 2019. About this time, I wrote about 15 to 20 songs. So I'm
Right.
kind of hoping that it's probably a winter thing for me because I prefer to be indoor winter. I don't like all that darkness.
Right. Me
So I'll
too.
try and focus on things. So hopefully this will fall for you guys into winter. Should start writing, and that'd be good. But in the meantime, we've got a whole body of work through Revolution of the Zephyr, which we can hybrid and bring in as Gone Savage. That's the beauty of it.
Is that music that you've written for that
Yeah,
project, that band,
yeah,
that you can kind
yeah.
of turn into Gone Savage type
No,
of style, or
yeah.
and
We
you want to do that?
if the guys go and look for Revolution at the Zephyr on SoundCloud, we're not out on Spotify, but we're on SoundCloud. You'll hear something goes from like a really pop rock western country kind of sound to metal in the same band.
Oh wow.
So what I need to do is just basically, if I want to develop those songs, bring them out and then restructure and re basically just look at them in a different way. But we've got so many tracks. I mean, we really are fortunate that we write, we're prolific, and it can be 2 minutes to 6 minutes to 7 minutes. Doesn't
Right, it can
matter.
go in any direction. That's good.
Yeah,
You have that
anything,
creative freedom.
anything. Yeah.
Yeah.
But I always like to write new stuff, and Will especially likes to write new lyrics and new titles. He's far more into new
Yeah.
stuff
Yeah.
than I can deliver.
Not just a past life, yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah, exactly.
exactly, exactly.
So there's about, I think there's about 8 songs on this on Past Life, 8 or 9 tracks in total together
We've
as
got, we've
what
got
the album would be.
yeah, total tracks are 12 actually,
12,
but
okay.
the actual there's an intro and there's 11 songs.
Okay.
So there's an intro at the beginning. Now the album may or may not have that full run, but it'll certainly have 11 tracks.
Okay.
So we'll look at reordering it to the concept of past life from Will's perspective. So at the moment, if you look on Spotify, you have an intro called Regression, and you have a last track called Touch Your God. That's a running order, so there's 12 tracks. But that
Okay.
might change. That'll change for the CD because we've got new artwork. We're going to put in all the lyrics, all the meanings, everything behind it, the concept, and then reorder it to the way that Will has written it.
Right. Makes sense.
It won't be the same as Spotify. So
Yeah.
hopefully people, when they buy CD, they're getting more, they're getting a bit more for the book.
Yeah, exactly. Plus, they get the liner notes, the lyrics, they get all the stuff
Yeah,
in there, the new artwork, which is the greatest
exactly.
part about having a CD, which is or a physical copy of an album, which is what I love. Which it's what it's what I prefer. Do you no problem. So on the songs are on the website. The songs are available for Past Life. They're on Spotify, other digital media. They're all available like everywhere you get your songs digitally, right? There's some on YouTube I know as well.
Yeah.
They're
There
all
is
out there for people to check out.
so Spotify and platforms like that have Past Life, they have Resurrection, but they also have collections of singles. Because the singles that we did Bulletproof, Louder Than the Sun. We also did Love Caught Me Out, which is a different
Mm.
version. And there was one other, but they'll scare me. I'll come back to it. And these aren't the versions that are on the Spotify, if you like, the digital download. They're not the same ones. So you've got 4 tracks there, and you've got 12 tracks here that are different.
Okay.
But they're all on Spotify. And then we have Resurrection. So that's where all the digital stuff is. There's no physical stuff until we get the CD released, of course. And then more versions of songs, as in releases, YouTube. And you'll also get the same at the band website, which is the www, and it's gonesavageband.com. So if you go there, you'll see all the videos of all the tracks that we've done so far and the history tracks, so the older versions. You'll also find a version there that we did with, I mentioned before, Vinnie Burns from
Hmm.
there. So there's a track up from there called Soul Sister, which is on the Resurrection LP, but the original version's up on the website. So you can hear that and you can download that. And it's
Yeah,
there.
it's definitely
And that's a good version because that features Will on singing, on main vocal.
right.
You've got Vinnie Burns on guitar, myself on bass, and James Ross on drums. I say a really, really good version. It's a classic version, that one. So that isn't actually out in the ether. That's not on digital anyway. You can only get it from our site. And
Yeah,
what I
the
want to
website's
do,
very
guys,
comprehensive too. People can check that out and get all things Gone Savage too. It's got a lot of information there for it's more than we can cover here. Everything is there on
oh yeah, oh yeah,
GoneSavageBand.com.
and you can see what other people think, as in the reviewers. So if you don't believe me, go and read the reviews because they're all
Exactly.
independent and they're there. You can see all that. You can see everything. So,
Yeah,
yeah,
it's perfect. Yeah, I definitely
yeah,
encourage people to do that too. Let me ask you this. So we talked about the artwork. So what people can see now, the artwork on there, which is a stencil pencil drawing kind of thing, I would assume is of you and Will standing back to back, side by side, kind of singing and playing. Talk to me about that concept. Who drew that? What's the artwork about that you currently have? I know you want to change it, but what, as far as the digital stuff, the Gone Savage, for this album for Past Life, this is the artwork that you have currently. What's
yeah.
talk to me about the story behind that?
So it was drawn by a guy called Ian Young, and he goes under the title of Squiggles. So he's based in Cumbria, which is the north part of the UK. So that's England, but further north than we are. And he does this as an artist. So he does landscapes as well. So where he lives in Cumbria, it's a bit like I can't compare to wherever in the USA, but it's lots of greenery, lots of lakes, lots of wilderness, that kind of thing, with towns and cities, but no, so towns but no cities. And so he used to draw lots of landscape, and he went into doing the squiggles. So he has a site, and I think it's www.squiggles.co.uk. Squiggles, SKWIGGLES, and he does pencil sketches. So I've seen it, and he does all kinds of rock people, like from Bon Scott to Freddie Mercury, all these
Oh,
people,
wow.
and he does t-shirts, and it's a really quite unique thing. So I got in touch with him and said, "Would you do one for our album, PastLIFE? Kind of commission?" He said, "Yeah,
Mm,
yeah, I'd love to." So he did that. So that's his work. So that's original artwork by an original artist.
nice.
And we like the fact, because me and Will do things slightly differently. We like to play hard rock, but we don't have to have Dungeons and Dragons or fire breathing goblins. We don't have that.
Right.
We don't
Yeah.
need to have that.
Yeah.
So we have that. And if you look at the video we did for Life in Black and White on YouTube, you'll see us as characters, done as animations.
Yes. Yes.
So that
Yes.
was
Yeah.
done by another artist, commissioned by another artist in Manchester called Hannah, and she does all. And it's fantastic, and she does
Nice.
all the artists. She's more indie, so she's more it's like Dave Grohl, and she likes people like the Killers and stuff, and
Mm.
she does these monikers of him, and she
Oh
it's
wow.
brilliant. So we did that because we wanted to do something completely different. And people say, "Why do you do things differently?" Well, why not?
Why
Why not?
not?
Why
Exactly.
not?
Yeah.
It doesn't matter. So that's where those two things came from. So the artwork is from Ian Young, and the videos from a lady called Hannah. So
For the
yeah,
artwork, did you give him the concept like you want just you and Will standing there? Did you give him a picture or just an idea, or did he just come up with this by like from his own head by scratch?
he took it off some gig photos we did.
Okay.
So we basically threw in some ideas of what we do on stage, of course, and then he pulled it in and he amalgamated the two images, and then started looking at, well, how do you want to look? So a bit of both, really, Chad. Our photo, his thought, and then his idea.
And did he come right back with that concept that we see right
Yeah,
now? And like after
yeah,
one
yeah.
try and you liked what you saw, did he have to revise it a bit, or was it good the way it was
Um, it,
to
it
you
was
and
good.
Will?
The whole thing was good. It was really good. We just moved a couple of things like that. I think the logo was sitting
Hmm.
too close to the head, or
Right.
the on it. I play bass, so there's only a bass guitar on there. It's quite a long bass, and again, it was like just setting things out so it didn't look like it was on top of your head,
Right.
or like I've knocked him over. And
Yeah.
so when he did it, and we put in the on the past life, there's a little bit of red in there, so it's black and white with a little bit of red.
Hmm.
So a little touches like that, just to
Yeah.
give
Yeah.
us something else.
Is there? I know you said you're going to change the artwork for the CD, but have you thought about keeping it just the way it is? It's very unique and very interesting. Or is it because of distribution? Because it's a CD? It's because it's his commissioned, his licensed work? Is it that you have to kind of change the artwork? What's the reason behind that?
Oh, somebody else is paying.
Yeah. There you go. Well, thank you for your honesty. No, that's
Somebody
true.
else is.
That's
Yeah, to a degree. To a degree. Now
yeah.
we have an idea. Fortunately, the idea that we would all like to do is based on the first. I can't say it's too much, but based on the first idea that we had for the album title and concept.
Hmm.
So it's kind of a bit weird, really, because we would have had two choices. We went with this one, and these people have come along and said we want to go with this one. That's fine because we would have had both.
Right. So you had a
Not
choice and you
too
could
bad.
either
Not
one
too
you
bad.
like. Yeah,
We
that's
like
good.
both. And
Yeah.
so me and Will went with this one and did what we did. And then these people are saying, well, we like this one. So can we go with this? And we're going, yeah, that's good. That's cool.
Yeah. Well, I
It's
can't
fun.
wait. I can't wait to see it when
Re-
it comes out.
it rebrands it all as well, Chad. So the whole thing, because like I said, the running order is changing. The idea, the concept behind why we put them together, and then the imagery is going to be it's going to be different. So hopefully people will see that and say, okay, I've got that version and I want to buy this version, you
Yeah.
know,
Yeah. And
and that's
have
what I want. I just keep the interest.
yeah, for sure. I definitely think that'll help too as well. And I can't wait to see that artwork when you can release it. That's going to be good. And of course, can't wait to have the CD as well too.
Yeah.
With the time that we have, because we run out of time easily on Zoom, I'm going to ask you a couple of things. So, on your website, I saw something very interesting under the story. Something very interesting was when you talked about playing live. It's the you have drums, keyboards, bass, singing, guitarist, all that stuff, and you have some little things you mentioned on the bottom. I don't have it right in front of me, but it mentions audio and visual effects. Now, I love bands that play truly live, truly real, have enough people on the stage to recreate the music that they have in the studio. But for clarity, what do you have that's kind of enhanced as far as audio and visual in your live shows? What does that mean exactly?
We're more driven towards the audio. So we tend to, on our music, when the guys check it out, there's quite a lot of intros. So we have like a bit of atmospheric, or it might be, things like people coming into the rooms. There's always a almost a forward to the song. So
Hmm.
we do that through audio. That's one thing. The visual side of things, we used to have projectors on the back, so like imagery. So as opposed to just the backdrop, there'll be things that
Instead of
will
just the band logo, it's an actual video
yeah. So
screen
something
backdrop, higher production. Yeah, yeah,
it's
that's
not
good.
Rush. It's not Rush.
Yeah, no,
it's not Rammstein, but
nah,
it's something more than just nothing. So back to the
right.
Sweet Sin days,
Yeah.
we actually made a well, forgive me, Sweet Sin before Sweet Sin members was a band called Egypt. Same band. We changed our name to Sweet Sin, so that's something
Right.
you've learned. But we had a pyramid behind us on the stage
No,
that
nice.
we made it in the garage. So we actually made something, big piece of wood pyramid.
Nice.
And back in the day, people are thinking, what's that? But it was a talking point, and it made them remember who you were.
Well,
So it's just
exactly.
little things like that.
And
It
you want
doesn't
to make
have to
sure,
be.
and you want to make sure it fits to scale when you go out on shows and tour back then. You don't want to having a Stonehenge type of thing with Black Sabbath where that's a little bit a little too big for those that know that story
Yeah,
in
it kind of makes
'83. Yeah.
it kind of makes you with the pyramid that it's like
Yeah.
you can only play a gig that's just a bit higher than the pyramid
Yeah,
itself.
exactly. You
If
want to
it's
have
like
room for
20
all your
foot higher,
gimmicks. Yeah.
you look a
Exactly.
bit silly. Well,
Yeah, yeah.
yeah,
Oh,
but
you have a big pyramid behind you. It's not going to fit. You got to change the name. put, put a sweet sin behind you, whatever that will be.
that's it. That's it.
Yeah.
So, but the thought that we could do a bit more than just turn up, that's we've
Yeah.
all got that attitude.
Yeah.
So if we've got like back in the day, sweets and especially we had pyros and we had like lights and all kinds of things going on. God Savage is more around audio in between songs. So most bands will come onto an audio or something. It may be music. It may
Like an
be
intro or something like that. Iron Maiden comes on to the UFO
yeah.
song Doctor Doctor. There's always something that kind of
Doctor Doctor.
lets the fans know that hey, the band's about to take the stage. So it's good to have that. Yeah.
Exactly. But
Yeah.
then we'll have bits in between as well. So as the song as the gig goes on, there may be a little bit where it's part of it. It's not like just some guy going bang 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 on the keyboard or
Yeah.
something. It's something that will link two songs.
No, that's
So
good. That's good. I like that. I'm glad you're able to clarify that too, because like I said, I love when bands play truly live, truly real. It's all the members up there singing, playing. Everyone does backing vocals, so it's good that you have that. I'm glad that
yeah,
you brought that to attention on your site. Whoever does your site, I'm glad that's the concept you believe in.
thank you. Yeah,
Lem-
we do, especially with harmonies and backing vocals.
Yeah.
we've done a. There's actually an acoustic session on YouTube that we did for a radio station in Liverpool, and it's got one of the older members, and but the way that it's done, it's really good because it's stripped down from what we did, and we all harmonise, and I think that's so it's priceless. And so we used to rehearse just harmonies, so just go and do harmonies.
I'm just looking at the the time is counting down.
Yeah,
I
I
want
think
to
we're
see if
gonna.
I have enough time to get maybe a Reader's Digest version of Sweet Sin, because I know we could cover that whole band at some point too, and
Oh,
maybe
definitely,
a more
definitely.
long form. But for those who don't know, Sweet
Yep.
Sin was your band from the '80s, which we played a couple of those songs as well on Paradise City. But for those that don't know Sweet Sin, who are out of the UK, what was that band, and what ended that band?
So Sweet Sin was formed by a chap called Mickey Vanderman, and he and Andy Halliwell created the band. Myself, back in the day, the pseudonym was Q Martinez, and then Dave Antonelli played drums. So we UK band. We did lots of work up and down the country. We released an album on our own label, MLB, 7 tracks. Did rather well in North America, I might add, and we also did rather well in Japan. We didn't get out on tour, but we did have a lot of interest, should we say. That band, it kind of finished around about 89 because I left.
Yeah.
I left and went to join or formed Gun Savage. But then moving forward, we're still good friends. And so I got a re-release through Steelheart in 2018. That was called The Lost Jewels. And you might not be able to get the CD now, but we got a pressing of that with extra tracks which we didn't release on the album. So there's 10 tracks on there, and that went number one North American charts when it was released. So
Oh
we
wow.
moved all of that, and now I run the page for Sweet Sin on Facebook, and there's loads of people interested. And if you go on Discogs, the stuff we put out back then, the album it's like off the scale. People want it, and the CD now is it's like in so much demand, and you can't get it. You can't get
Nah,
it.
that's too bad.
I've got some. I've
Well,
got some.
maybe I'll
But
hit you up for that.
yeah, I just
Yeah.
sent one to Greece yesterday,
Oh
actually.
wow. Yeah.
So Sweet Sin's got a really, really good legacy. And if you go onto my channel, that's IK Salpekar, you will find I've got the Sweet Sin videos up there for Run to the Night and Nightmare, and they get loads of hits.
Right.
And
And
it's
that's
amazing.
and those are
Amazing.
the two singles that got video. There's
Yeah,
videos on
that's
YouTube
right.
as well too
That's
that
it.
people can tell can see as well too, which I think are both of the tracks we played on Paradise City as well too. But I haven't heard the whole album, but I'd be definitely interested to hear more of that stuff for sure.
I'll get you a link to that, Chad, and I'll try and sort one out for you because
Okay.
you'll love it.
Oh,
It's good.
definitely.
I do like it myself. It's certainly for time, but it's good because uh, we worked really hard on that one. Really hard. It was
Yeah.
like boot camp.
Yeah,
It was
for
like
sure.
boot camp.
A little bit different sound, but you know what? Gone Savage, yeah, Gone
Yeah,
Savage has kind of a throwback sound. I'm not comparing the two. They're different projects, different bands, but if you like Sweet Sin, you'll definitely love Gone Savage. What
you
you and
will.
Will are doing,
You will definitely 100%.
absolutely.
It's got the same DNA.
Yep, absolutely. Last thing then I'll ask you: do you have any live shows coming up for Gone Savage in the next year? I know we're almost at the end of 2023, but
Uh,
for next year, do you have anything on the books?
Nothing but for next year, but I hope that we do. Now I'm going to start writing the album. Hopefully, it won't be too much of a distraction, but we have got people lined up to do gigs. So if I can then get some planning involved, it would be poly festivals, but it won't be just normal clubs, poly festivals, and probably be summertime next year,
Yeah.
2024.
That's the ideal time to do it. Hear more about you and what you've done, past life, new life, all things Gone Savage and more. Go to gonesavageband.com, gonesavageband.com. It's got everything there, comprehensive, well done site. I just love all the info that's there, and I love all the stuff that's out there. People can get 30-second clips. They can go out and buy the tracks, donate money to your cause, to your band, and support what you're doing, because I think it's really a good project, and I hope Gone Savage has a new life, a new past life, and keeps going.
Thank you, Chad. Really appreciate that. Really do.
Yeah, absolutely. Besides the shows, the festivals, you're working on new tracks. Is there, you mentioned, of course, Revolution of the Zephyr, and you're making some of those songs into Gone Savage songs, but are you doing Revolutions separately as well? Or is that just going to go right into Gone Savage?
Yeah, I go straight into Gone Savage, yeah, because it's myself and Will's concept anyhow. So it's basically a different platform to play different music that we like. You know, we don't always like to write rock music, um, so that's why we do it. So in essence, there's no Gone Savage without Revolution of the Zephyr, and vice versa. You know, we are one of two halves.
All right. We go
Yeah,
hand
one
in
of two
hand.
halves.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
so we're hand in hand. Yeah, so we can do whatever we want. That's the beauty of it.
Absolutely. Well, I look forward to talking to you again, Ian, when the
Yeah.
new songs come out, when you have new tracks to release. Send them my way. I'll get them on Paradise City. I think people will love to hear them, and hopefully I can get help you spread that message out and get people to notice the band over here on this side and all over the world, because Paradise City is all over the world and people can find that on demand. So hopefully, I can't wait to premiere some of that stuff. I hope you'll think of me when you have new songs out there.
100%, Chad. Paradise City has been a really good supporter of Gone Savage, and we really appreciate that. So if we can give you anything, possibly an exclusive, who knows? Then
Oh, I'll be looking forward to that. Yeah, we'll keep in touch.
you're the guy. You know, you
Yeah.
support us and we support you. It's like we said before. It's a two-way street. It's got to
Absolutely.
be. Got to be.
Absolutely. 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 My thanks again to you for doing this, and my best to Will. Hopefully next time we chat, we can have Will join us as well too. And I'd love to get his story as well. But lots more to cover with Ian. But for now, check this out. Go check out GoneSavageBand.com. Ian, thanks again for your time, and we'll chat soon.
Thanks, Chad. All the best. All the best to your listeners. Take care now.
Thank you. Take care.
Bye.